Today we are talking about the sit to stand squat variation. And for those of you that are looking like you don't know what I'm talking about, a visual is always better. But one of the big things we struggle with on this page is what to do for this and what setting. That's not a this page thing, that's marketing and lots of companies out there sending mixed messages to a degree. There is no perfect setting, there's no perfect duration, there is no perfect move for every person because you've got goals and different body types, and sometimes things need to be done short term to achieve things long term. So I really try not to make everything more complicated than it usually is. So for today's session, I thought we'd kind of get in deep on a very basic exercise position, but it also happens to be life. A lot of what I like to help you improve on the machine is your quality of life. And if we can make you move and function better with just some basic things you can build into your routine. I'm a big fan, as you know, of short spot treatments. So things that are a minute, two. If you have access and mobility to use your machine more frequently, sometimes it's not a big routine. Sometimes it's just one move because your back's bugging you, or you want to sit on it for a couple minutes because you're constipated. So there's all kinds of spot treatments, and you're still getting a lot of the benefits known with whole body vibration. But when you get into things like getting fit, losing weight, getting stronger, pushing yourself, we start getting into the fitness realm. And to me, we're active and we live our day. Doesn't mean that we sit on our butts all day, but going to the gym, going to aquafit, doing different things would be your exercise. Your machine can be your feel good and your fitness. So the sit to stand is one of those things that you do every day, whether you have a vibration machine or not. You're sitting and you got to stand up. And then when you're standing up, sometimes you got to sit back down. And we don't really think about it, but it is a position that some of us struggle with. Sometimes we got to use both of our arms, or sometimes we get into that recliner and we're going so far downhill with our hips that we can't get back out. So I want to give you a few things that are going to dual purpose. Yes, they're going to make you feel good. They can be a fitness thing, so you're getting some fitness benefits. But overall, if you incorporate some of these little naggy tips that I give you, you'll find that your function and your mobility throughout the day should slowly start to improve. So the big reasons we're talking about this today is the sit to stand is going to burn some calories if you do it properly. It's going to improve your mobility and your range of motion, and overall it's going to offer some strength, some bone density, some of the medical benefits that you guys are looking for. So this is going to sound like a deja vu, but here's me with my stool. Why do you have your stool today? Because we're going to be sitting and standing and sitting back down. And from a safety perspective, I always recommend you have a stool, especially if you're a newbie, especially if you deal with fatigue or poor mobility, because you might need to sit down if you get pooped out. So as I've been doing these classes, that's how I'm booking them on Facebook now, you'll notice that it offers, class requirements. Some of my things are nice to have, some of them are need to have. And today that stool is the need to have. So we're going to start just on a very basic level. I kind of want you on the slower end of your mid speeds. So depending on how many speeds your machine has, we're working with oscillating motion. If you are using your machine in another mode because it has one and you find that this is too aggressive, the positions that I teach you guys are universal. Whether you're doing it on pulsation or oscillating or lateral or vertical, there's lots of different types of machine movements, but the movements, the positions you do on the machines can be universal. There's just maybe some modifications. With oscillating, your intensity is controlled with your feet. It's not about being as wide as humanly possible. For this one, I want your feet about hip width apart, and you'll feel the movements just kind of slapping those calves back and forth. You might feel a little bit into the lower knees. We've done all kinds of seated sessions here. Today we're going to focus and jump right into the sit to stand. So what the sit to stand is, and if you're not super mobile or having mobility and balance issues, you might want to spend a minute or two just doing your regular seated routine and use the sit to stand as a progression or something to work towards. If what I would like you to do is sort of start leaning forward. If you have your machine by a counter or you have a machine with handles, maybe you need another stool. The goal isn't to use your arms to physically pull you up. It's to build the strength in the legs. So kind of just shimmy yourself forward a little bit, right? Commit more body weight. And then I want you to slowly stand up, okay? For some of you, that's enough. That's all you can do. But 1 rep is better than no reps yesterday. If balance is a concern, you might find sitting back down is scary. But I'd like you to try. Put your hands on your stool if you need. Bring them a little closer and sit back down, okay? So just this action of standing up, very slow, very controlled. And we're going to sit back down, okay? If that's too hard and we can't stand up yet, even kind of going halfway, so shifting so that you're engaging those muscles, like maybe you'll only get an inch off. You know, if that's all you're able to do, start there. Maybe you can get a little higher. Oh, pooped out, right? However you need to progress is still 1 step forward. It doesn't matter how big the step is. It's still a step forward, okay? So some variations I want you to consider while you're doing this. A lot of hypermobile joints here. A lot of us wanting to work out our inner thighs and other things too. We've discussed the ball. We add the ball just above the knees and we squish it with our thighs. This is going to help keep your legs in good posture and alignment. But if you find that, you know, unstable knees and hips and ankles, you know, add to this being scary, you might find a ball between your knees is not only going to exercise more muscles, but it might help offer some stability. So we can try. This is a little bit harder. I'm going to stand back up. If you haven't watched me use my rainbow ball, it's a little deflated so that your thighs can grip it. If it's completely inflated, it's just going to shoot out on you, okay? And for those of you that are unable to completely stand, we're just shifting weight, same thing. Hold 2, 3. Try just pushing yourself a little bit off that stool, even if you got to sit right back down. It's all going to progress you in the long run. So if your goal is to burn more calories, and this isn't the hardest position for you, we can do more reps. This could be just your 2-3 minute boost that metabolism in the morning thing if you want. So if you're looking for more of a calorie burn, not only do we want to do more of them, but try and have a little bit of a pace, not too much of a pace. The faster you go, the more the machine doesn't really build the load up on your muscles. And I want you focusing on good technique before you win a marathon. So just slowly stand up. If you want to burn calories, instead of physically sitting back down, just touch the stool. Just hit it with your butt. Come back up. Down. Up. You can add some arm movements because it looks cool. Whatever you want to do. Okay? And you're going to feel a burn. If you are dealing with like joint pain or arthritis or other issues, pay attention to that. You might find that weak knees or ankles give out before the muscles are fatigued. Listen to whatever your quit point is. Next progression. I want to burn more calories. I want to work my upper body. I want to be stronger. Pick up some weights, some soup cans, your grandchild, whatever you have at your disposal. Same motion. If you're not used to working with the ball and the weights together, don't incorporate them all at once just because I'm showing you this today. But even just by adding a little bit more weight, you have to struggle harder. Doesn't mean you have to do arm movements. If you're comfortable, add some arm movements. However you want. These are 5 pounds a piece. So these are kind of throwing me off balance actually. But it's going to force you. Adding weight to your workout isn't going to give you big workout muscles. These machines are very good at building lean, that runner muscle mass kind of thing. If you want to get bigger, you're going to have to add a lot more weight for a long time. So don't worry that what I'm showing you is going to give you big bad muscles. So that's just a variation. Maybe your arms are tired, but your legs aren't. Okay, that was just a variation. And sometimes you'll find if you've got something in your hands to focus on, you're paying less attention to the pain in your legs. So that's a variation. And what you might find if you do deal with metabolism issues, fatigue, lethargia all the time, maybe you need to take a little rest and just sit for a minute or two and let things recover for a little bit. If you can't do lots of reps, just like my sessions, instead of doing one big long session, do lots of little sessions throughout the day. So, maybe you do 3 or 4 really good reps, you sit for 30 seconds to a minute, and then we try a couple more. Push yourself. Push yourself to that point where you want to quit. That's what's going to change you. That's what's going to make you stronger. And what you'll notice if you're adding this as an exercise, and you're trying to improve that range of motion, all of a sudden you'll be able to get up one day out of that sofa without using your hands, or you're using them less. Or all of a sudden you get down on the ground and you got back up and you don't remember how you did it because it was so fluid and so quick. So not a terribly exciting session today, but a very basic position that many of you, like I say, do daily without realizing. And, we're creatures of habit. If I can teach you some good technique, hopefully it will spill over into other avenues of your life. And if you are doing you're fine doing squats now, this is another little way that you can, do deep squats. Sometimes when you get deep, you get unstable, or you don't trust your knees, or sometimes we overanalyze things as women. So having the stool there and doing it in the sit to stand fashion is also a bit of a safety thing. I also love doing this exercise, nothing to do with the community here, but a lot of my seniors dealing with like poor mobility, Parkinson's, all kinds of degenerative issues. They struggle getting up out of that chair, and range of motion and mobility is more challenging, tougher to regain. And the big thing with our elderly crowd is the bone density, the osteoporosis. None of that ever is harmful to you. It's the fall and the break, and the recovery from that. So just by standing on the machine, one of those things that is really a side benefit I've talked about is balance and stability. So no matter what you're doing, how you're doing it, what setting, on this type of platform, the biggest advantage is balance and stability. So if the balance and stability is there, sometimes things like this are a little less scary and you're more willing to entertain them. If you're afraid you're just going to fall off the damn thing by standing on it, I'm not really doing a very good job. So start where you can, how you can, and progress very slow and conservative.